you like this artwork from my son? He made it just for you guys. Now, let's get to the main point of the video, which is to just look at some statistics about why, YouTube channels that are doing well versus some that are not. Okay? This isn't to shame anyone or to belittle anybody's effort. In fact, ones that I'm going to be criticizing heavily, I've gone ahead and just blacked out the names. Actually, I think I blued them out. But yeah, they're not going to be able to be seen. And that is on purpose, because I don't want anybody thinking, oh, I'm attacking someone or I'm criticizing them. That's not what this is about. This is just about to point out why I think some YouTube videos and YouTube channels are doing better than others right now. And I want to talk about that. I find that interesting. Okay, so here is example number 1. And I'm going to bring that up on screen here. If you'll just be patient. There it is. Boom. Example number 1. Make that bigger. I didn't really make it bigger. There we go. Okay. This is example number 1 of a YouTube channel. And you can see it has a lot of peaks and valleys here. And some of these peaks are really good. You can see that there was 2 months, right in here, there was 2 months over 2 million views. And they've done a lot of months over 1 million views. But there's a lot of these valleys. And you can see how that correlates to the subscribers gained. It's almost an identical graph. Excuse me. So it's almost an identical graph, right? Now, this correlates to what kind of content they're putting out, how much content they're putting out, and whether or not people want to see it. So on a month where you have 2 million views, over 2 million views, you get almost 15,000 subscribers. This one's probably somewhere about 12,000 subscribers. And you think, wow, that's a bunch of new subscribers. But then the very next month, a dip down to below 500, what was it? Yeah, below 1 million. Just below 1 million, okay? And then a dip down to somewhere in the middle, 500,000, 600,000, somewhere around there the next month. And then you see it go back up because they start putting out more content. So if you were to know which channel this was and to look at it, you would see that it's correlated to how many videos they're putting out. So they might gain subscribers, but those subscribers aren't sticking around to watch their old content. And if they're not putting out new content, those subscribers tend to go away, so that they actually just maintain pretty much a status quo. You see, they do have these outliers where they go back up to they didn't go back up. They went up to 2 million. They haven't gotten back to that point. They've gotten back to where they were 2 years ago, but not much better than that on the average. They've been below that. And you can see here, you had 3 in quick succession. You had some dips for whatever reason, less content being put out. But for the most part, about 1 million views was the status quo. And then you had this period where a lot of people were doing really well. This is the time of COVID where a lot of people are at home and they're starting to watch YouTube videos. This channel doesn't do that well. They're not putting out content. They're not addressing the current situation. They're not commenting on it. They're not putting alternatives for people to focus on. And so you don't see a big uptick. Then you do, because they put out some content, immediately back down, and then down to where they were before, down in this trough, because they're not doing what it takes to grow the channel by putting out new content that people want to see. I'm going to pull up example number 2 here. This is a little bit smaller channel compared to that one. But there's some similarities here. So they had a big spurt of popularity, consistent popularity, and they, for whatever reason, dropped down to where they had a big drop off. Maybe their content changed, maybe their audience changed, whatever the reason may be. It doesn't really matter, because at that point you have to course correct. You have to ask yourself, why is this happening? What can I do to change it? And then you see a similar thing. Here's times of COVID still going down, meaning that they're not gaining new subscribers during this period where a lot of people are at home and they're starting to watch. You have a big peak here, but the subscriber growth isn't there. So whatever this peak was, it didn't lead to new subscribers coming in. The subscribers stayed the same. So maybe this video went viral, but it didn't get people to actually click on it and watch it. Maybe they put out a lot more videos at that point. We don't know. But because I didn't dive deep into this one exactly why, but in all details. But you can see generally it does correlate between subscribers and video views. So whatever this month was, it didn't lead to subscribers. And for the most part, they're going down. You see, especially from here, where they had built up, they've gone considerably down, and you see like a downward trend. You do have some peaks here, but then back down for whatever reason. Now, that is example 2. And now we'll have example 3. Example 3, I actually left the name in because this is one I'm not going to actually criticize, but I'm going to point out the difference between this and the other ones which go up and down all the time, right? This is an example of growth. Now, I know you see these valleys here and you think, holy cow. But look, negative numbers. A lot of videos were deleted. Any of these times you see these go down into negative, that means videos were deleted. Okay, so that doesn't count. The person, in this case, Gary Shipman, he went in and he culled his numbers in terms of his videos. He deleted a bunch and he started to put out, he just didn't have them as many videos on his channel. He deleted some of them, so that's why it goes down into negative. So disregard those. But you can see generally, this stays relatively flat, which you say, well, I mean, that's not that great. But since January 2019, pretty much the videos have stayed consistent. 2,000, 3,000 views, somewhere around there. Sometimes it goes up with some popular videos, and you can see that it's just actually giving an audience what they want. That they want to see this, and so they're staying in there. And then you do have new subscribers coming in that might interact with the content, but this isn't necessarily growth, it's maintenance. Some of those, you saw those other ones where they go up and down depending on whether they've put out videos or not, or whether the videos actually want to be watched. And you see these big dips and big valleys and big peaks. This one, it's just pretty steady because he's putting out content regularly that his audience wants to watch. Now, what does he have to do? In my opinion, I'm an expert or something, but what does he have to do to get above that level? Well, he has to put out different types of content, try to bring in new viewers, okay? And you can see that he brings in subscribers regardless of if he's putting out brand new content. So if he does bring in a new audience through different types of videos, he should gain. Now let's look at some ones that are gaining. And these ones are going to be, for interesting reasons, bring up this one. This one is a Christian organization, Desiring God, John Piper is an organization. And you can see here that they were pretty much maintaining for a long time. Since May 2018 to about the end of 2019, they were pretty much around over 1 million views, somewhere up close to about 2 million views. Then COVID happened, and you can see this growth, right? Because people were at home, they were looking for things for hope or maybe peace in that time when riots and things were starting to happen. And you can see this growth. It's massive jumps, right? From averaging over 1 million to now averaging over 2 million, and your new peak is over 3 million. And you see there's a drop down because, yeah, it's a peak. They had a really popular video or things went viral or whatever happened. They're putting out more content. More subscribers came in, but the drop off isn't as big, right? The drop off is the new average. And that's what you're looking for, because peaks are good. But if you drop back down to below where your average was before, then that's not growth, regardless of whether or not your subscribers amount is growing. Right? Because your subscriber number can grow, but if those people aren't sticking around to watch it, then it didn't matter if they subscribed or not. What matters is if they're staying around to watch it, if your videos are still getting relevancy. And you can see here that is the case. Yeah, of course, it went down to about this level, but that's a new high compared in the average numbers, right, to what it was before. Here's another one that's had some success. This is based off of just recent times, past few months, but we can see the success for Doug TenNaples' channel. Okay, now Doug was getting usually around 10,000 views right here. Okay, this is per month around 10,000 views. That's pretty good, but it was consistent. He was maybe 20,000 views this month or whatever, but he was doing the content that people wanted and he was maintaining. Then he sort of changed up what he was doing, did more political content, and you can see, boom, up to 10 million views, up to over 20 million views. Then the next month, it drops back down to over 10 million views. So yes, you had a peak, the fervor of the political season, right there after the political season, and you can start to see a little bit of a drop off, right? You get the subscriber numbers too, but we'll have to look and see in a few months if this maintains. Now, I think that it might go down a little bit, but it's going to be way bigger than this. And you'll start to see these peaks, and over time, it'll even out to a pretty high number of views per month. That was better than what was before because he tried something new. He did something different. He did different content that people wanted to see, and it resonated. Now, you may not want to do political content like him, but you do have to ask yourself, how can I appeal to a new audience? Because that's how you build. This is growth. Now, it did go back down in terms of subscribers, but that big jump from below 100,000 subscribers per month to over 100,000 subscribers, that's not really going to maintain in most situations. So it's not surprising to see that have a steep drop, but I think you'll continue to see those numbers, especially because 300,000 subscribers almost in a month. That's crazy numbers. Okay, so that's example 2 of something that's positive. Here's example 3 of something that's positive. This is a channel, another Christian channel called What Do You Meme? And you can see that he had, some peaks and things, but mostly below 1 million views, well below 100,000 or so views per month for a few years. Not really getting too much momentum. You can see again that correlation. Here's a small peak. Here's a peak in terms of subscribers added. Then COVID happens. March 2020. What happens? March. Boom. Up. Then a little bit fall down, but back up, up. Growth. In this, his videos didn't necessarily, the types of videos he was making didn't change. He just gained the momentum. And he took advantage of the fact that people were home. They were watching more YouTube content. They were on their phones more. They were online more. They were on the internet. And he's sort of found that period. Now this will level off. This won't always be just continuing the steep climb up, right? But it'll level off at a new level than it was before. And that's what you're looking for. That's what you're looking for. How can you get to a new level of viewership and subscriber growth than you had before? Now, it may not always work. You may get to a point where your audience is saturated for the type of content that you're putting out. Then it's maintenance. But you have to get to that level. And dipping back down due to not making good content or losing subscribers for various reasons, and you don't gain new subscribers back in their place, those things require course corrections. They require change. They require adaptation. These are things that I talk about quite a bit in live streams and things like that. I sort of devolve into just ranting about these things. But these are examples of that stuff. These are examples of what I'm talking about when I say you've got to put out content that both is what your audience wants to see and sometimes new content for new people to bring them in to your normal average, your normal content. It's average, but your average output, the kind of content you want to make. And you have to consider that maybe you have to do something different. Maybe it'll be hard. Maybe it'll be more work than what you're doing before, but you have to do something different because it's about growth. And then when you get big enough, hopefully it's about maintaining that growth, because we saw declines on some of those channels that were severe. Now, those statistics are from Social Blade, and I want to point out that I don't have access to all of their behind-the-scenes statistics, what they're making, how much money they're making, how many views per each video is getting from what demographics and all that stuff. I can only look at the surface-level statistics, but they're pretty obvious in terms of success if you look at things. You can sort of tell growth by looking at average views over time and looking at how many views the videos are getting versus how many views they used to get, or all of those things can we look at to see if a channel is growing or if it's maintaining or if it's slowly fading. Now, if you are interested in subscriber growth, I don't really have much tips for you other than make new content, make good content, work hard. Those are the things that pay off.
Explosion!